right. You're live. What's going on, everybody? Rob Garcia, the Warrior Strategist, coming at you on this lovely Monday evening, and I haven't been live in a while. Wanted to spend some time talking about something a little different than I usually talk about. I hope you guys have been doing well. I've been really focused on business lately rather than doing lives, doing videos, things like that. Had reserve duty for a day. It was 17 hours long. I volunteered for a couple things, and some of my troops retired, so I had to attend their ceremony. But made it home. Took a day to recover. Things are good. Want to talk tonight a little bit about poverty mindset, why it affects people, and how to break out of it. I want to share a couple of concepts that have really helped me out in managing how I look at wealth, money, all that stuff. And before I get started, I want to emphasize and make it really, really clear. Your net worth does not equate your value. And that's the first thing you should learn when you're working on adjusting your wealth mindset. And too many people associate the flow of money with their own self-esteem, self-worth, all that stuff. Just because somebody has a lot of money doesn't necessarily make them more valuable than you or more sophisticated or better off in life. I know plenty of people that grew up with a lot of money that are train wrecks, trust me. Money, just like the military, is an amplifier. It simply takes a person and it either augments their worst qualities or it augments their best qualities. Military, thank God, augmented my good qualities. Gave me the stability to do what I need to do in life. So people gather a poverty mindset from a couple different places. And it can be growing up around parents with a poverty mindset. It can be growing up in actual poverty. It can be never quite having enough money and always feeling that scarcity, always feeling like you're going to be broke your entire life. You can't afford things, envy of rich people, hating billionaires, stuff like that. A poverty mindset comes from scarcity or the perception of scarcity. And this is where you need to break out. Jose, what's going on, man? We need to talk in a while. I don't know if you saw my post or not, but I was made director of coffee for my reserve unit, and we might even need a subscription. I'm wondering if you can put our logo on the back. But I am very, very well versed in this topic because I grew up without a lot of money. I grew up like cockroaches in the house, rats in the house, going to school in moldy clothes. I mean, I had it pretty bad. To the point of criminal neglect, but it was the 80s. People didn't give a shit back then. You could neglect them kids all day long. Thank God it turned out okay through the grace of God and the universe and my own natural Latino passion / anger. So I've had a massive up-leveling in 2025. And I'm always a little hesitant to share this stuff with people because A, I don't want to be perceived as a guru. B, I don't want people to be so cynical that they're like, oh, here comes the upsell. And C, I don't want to paint myself as this person that's like a millionaire giving out advice because I'm not a millionaire. But I feel like I do have a much greater understanding in the last couple months of wealth than I ever have in my life. I haven't had a boss in like 8 years. Sometimes my business does really well. Other times I'm not at the Bob level, barely above bills anymore. But, it comes and goes. A couple times I've broken $20,000 in a month. And for a one-man shop, that's pretty good. Pretty proud of myself. Here's how you can elevate. I know you guys don't just sit here listening to me pontificate all night. You want some actual, steps. I'm a strategist. You need steps and tactics and ideas. The first thing to do is to surround yourself with high net worth individuals that have a high standard. And I was listening, as cheesy as this is, I was listening to Tony Robbins the other night, and he said something. I mean, this is why he's Tony Robbins. He was talking about nothing can ever change the standard that you set for yourself. And I was like, holy shit, Tony's right. Teach me more, Robbins, you 8-foot tall gargantuan monster. But he said people that set a giant high standard, even if they just get close, have elevated or something to that effect. And he was right. Like, that really got me thinking. And I've made a concentrated effort to buy nicer things, to dress better, to exercise. So wait for the exercise to kick in, like the results. But I'm putting in the work. Same with Rue Munoz. Every day, Rue's on the treadmill. Super proud of him. But that's the first step. Surround yourself with people with a success mindset. If you're around broke people, you're never going to elevate. And I'm not saying you have to get rid of your friends that aren't like balling out of control. But I'm saying you can limit who you talk to. You control everyone in your network. And if somebody doesn't have the right alignment or vibe, I'm not going to make time for them, period, dot. If they're not going to do the work and they just expect me to provide some easy button for fast riches, I'm not going to do it. A, I don't fucking know how. And B, that's not how I operate. That's not operating in my integrity. Thank you, Rue. I appreciate it, man. So that's the first thing. Surround yourself with higher net worth, success-minded individuals. They don't have to be rich, but they have to have a higher standard than you do, for sure. I've been pricing Porsches. I've been looking. I up-leveled my website. I up-leveled my graphics. I up-leveled my videos and commercials. All of these things are to attract wealth. I up-leveled my services. The last 2 people I've worked with have gotten features. They've been on the Wall Street Journal, CNN, Yahoo Finance, a few other premium sites. So I have up-leveled the direction that I'm taking clients. As the services get better, so do the prices. They get more expensive. I mean, that's how it goes. Results beget prices. So that's the first thing, is surround yourself with higher end people. The second thing is to adopt an attitude of self-worth, of money confidence. And this means you don't haggle anymore. You're not a Turkish rug merchant. Okay, this isn't a bazaar in Doha. Your prices are your prices. And I'll tell you right now, if rule 2 is hold yourself to a higher money standard, rule 3 is be expensive, but be able to justify it. And what I mean by that is, if you want to charge premium dollars, you have to have a premium service or premium results. A Louis Vuitton purse is a stupid purse. My opinion, they're ugly. But people pay for the appearance and the perception of prestige. It's a purse. It's not made of any specialized material. It's just a goofy purse with an ugly design. And people flock to it because it's popular. But the point is, it has that weird, that whole brand has that weird confidence. And if you actually compare it to other brands, Louis Vuitton's on the low end. I consider it just above Michael Kors. I'm sure a few real estate agents want to throw their coffee in my face after they watch this one. And Mike Dolbo says, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe you can do it. Break out of doldrums. You have to imagine you've already won. You will win. That is true, Mike. And congratulations on your docuseries, man. It's going good. People are receptive to it. The editing came out great. You know, big shout out to the VetCom team. They took the ball. They ran with it. They ran with my idea, and I gave them guidance and direction. I was more like the director. But shout out to the editors, Aiden and Gabe. They did a spectacular job putting that together. They put a lot of hours in, a couple days. I'm really proud of it. And it came out the exact way I envisioned it. And that's a blessing, telling Mike's story. So understand, guys, let me get back to it. So surround yourself with higher net worth people, be expensive. Set a higher standard for yourself. And I want you to look at verbiage. I know a few people in my life that I'm close to. And when I catch them saying something like, I'm broke, I'm poor, I don't have any money, and you're working forever, I want to grab them and say, yes, this is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're talking like a fucking loser. Okay? And I'm very positive, but I'm also very straightforward. You cannot build yourself up if you're constantly telling yourself you're poor or you're broke. Sometimes the success must follow the talent. I was just as talented here in my apartment in San Diego with these 20-foot ceilings and freaking spiral staircase as I was when I lived in a studio apartment in the dark, eating tuna fish sandwiches on moldy bread. Okay? The success followed my talents. I just hadn't cultivated my talents. I deserved the money back then, but I wasn't developed, enlightened, ascended, whatever terms you want to use. And Rue says he could be Walmart or Birkin. Both are billion-dollar companies. Choose which way you get there. Exactly. And Rue, that brings up a very good point. Think of the average Walmart shopper. Not trying to sound like an elitist, but just think of it. And then think of a person in the Birkin store. That's two different sets of marketing. That's two different price points. That's two different shopping experiences. And that's the difference between serving everyone and serving a select few. Garcia Global Media is somewhere in the middle. I call it early stage luxury. Mary says, good things are coming. Exactly. Shout out to Mary Hubbard, who is my official bookkeeper. She's done a spectacular job helping me to evolve and to run my business like an adult. I fought it kicking and screaming, and Mary finally convinced me. I gave her a try, and she's been spectacular. If you need help with your bookkeeping, reach out to Mary Hubbard. She's amazing at what she does, and she's super creative as well. That's a plus. So here's what you guys need to do. There was an old TV show called The Pretender. It's one of my favorite shows ever. It was in the 90s. Michael T. Weiss, who's too handsome to live. He was a child genius, kidnapped by the government. One day he broke out. I mean, he was a genius. And he had this ability to kind of like Catch Me If You Can. He could read a book, become super smart, and impersonate anyone he wanted to be. That's why it was called The Pretender. And he would just get into the role. So for you guys that want to elevate and move up a step in life, and status, and all that good stuff, dress for the role. Dress for success. For me personally, collared shirt, Bulova watch, Oliver Peoples glasses, like American Psycho, except mine aren't round. Guess what? I got another pair that are round, and they're actually part of my weight goal reward. You guys don't know this about me, but a long time ago, I picked out 3 items. A watch that my friend had given me for my birthday that I never wore, a really cool Air Force Falcons hat, and Oliver Peoples glasses I'd wanted for 5 years. They were fucking expensive. They're like $450. To me, that's expensive. They're blue tortoise shell. They're like this, except they're round. I've never worn them outside of the optometrist shop. Why? All 3 of these items are reward items for when I hit 230 pounds. It's probably been a year and a half now. Still fighting the battle. But understand, these are what people do to motivate themselves. So I could just give in and rock all this great gear, or I could be a person that earned that great gear. That's how I'm operating these days. So anyway, it does not cost a lot to look like wealth. I have $40 black men's dress shoes from Amazon. And they're awesome. And they look good because they're brand new. Okay? I buy $18 dress shirts off of Amazon. You pair it with a nice watch. You pair it with some nice sunglasses. You get like a freaking fitted dress coat, and you can look like $1,000,000. And Jose says Tony Robbins talks about anyone can accomplish what someone else has already done by mimicking their behavior. I agree. And I'll tell you guys, once in a while, I rock suits. And when I walk around, people treat me differently. My buddy Jeff and I did it kind of ironically, but I had like a brand new, like really nice purple tie I'd bought from Amazon and some new sport coat. And I got some sunglasses. And I rocked this outfit. I look like an old mafia don. And I was with my buddy Jeff, who's giant. He's like a brick wall with arms. And we were walking around, and Jeff is dressed like an MMA fighter. And people were staring at us like, who the fuck is that guy? Is he important? Because it looked like I had like a paid henchman, like a bodyguard. And we were laughing. We walked into Inside Out restaurant, and an entire table of a bride and the bridesmaids all turned and stared at me 2 seconds too long. And that's a good feeling. When you dress and you feel confident and you exude that confidence, people pick up on that vibe. They're respectful of you. They want to know who you are. They want to see if you're interesting. They're curious. Like, why are you dressed up like that? You have something to go to? Like, are you a CEO? Like, what the fuck? And when I become that person, I feel like I can attract wealth. And I feel like an actual professional. It's just like you guys. I deal with some, I wouldn't say I have imposter syndrome or I deal with it that much anymore. Pretty confident in what I do. But I'll just tell you this. When you dress at your best level, you put yourself in that mindset, whether it's bright colors, fitted outfit, something where you feel like you look good. And you can, and Mike says you are what you believe you are, and that's the key. Exactly. You can be whoever you want. That's why I love the show, The Pretender, because the guy would just like read a couple books and then boom, dress like a cop, and he can become a cop. He can become a pilot. He can become an army ranger, whatever. Fuck. So when I put on a suit and some cool sunglasses, I'm no longer Rob Garcia. I'm Dr. Rob, the warrior strategist. And it feels fucking good. Not going to lie. But that's the next part of the mindset of ascending, of getting into a higher wealth mindset, is to look the part so that when you look in the mirror, you say to yourself, damn, that's a successful person. That's a person that's going places. That's a person that believes in themselves. Another thing that you guys should learn. And Lauren Harris told me that when I taught him this, he made $50,000 that month. And he was dead serious, Dr. Lauren Harris. Because I taught him one phrase. Should have trademarked it. And this wasn't some Robism. I have a couple of Robisms. You guys know that. I will share them with you. But this was something that came to me, and Lauren calls them downloads, just when you have a good idea from the universe. And I said, stop pricing at what you can afford. And I have an addendum to that. The addendum, don't fear the zeros. Those two rules come together like Voltron. How many of us are scared to price at what we can't afford? Do you have a $20,000 package, a $50,000 package, a $30,000 package? If not, you're in the constraints of your own poverty mindset. I want you to think about that. Every single one of you should have a VIP package where if some high roller comes along, you're like, yep, I don't usually do this, but I have a $40,000 6-month package that comes with this, this, and this. Maybe 5 times I've had someone that wanted to metaphorically drive the Lamborghini. They wanted the most expensive package I had, every service I had. I wasn't ready, Jack. I'll tell you that right now. Why? Because I couldn't afford what I was selling. And that's what you have to get out of. You can sell a $30,000 package. You can sell a $50,000 package. But you know what? Most people don't have the confidence because they fear the zeros. Don't fear the zeros. And I went to an amazing training by Jessica Yarbrough, who is an amazing human being. And Jess is very successful. She's the real deal. And this entire thing was just based on selling $25,000 to $50,000 packages. And the whole secret of it was that the zeros become manageable in your head when you break it down to 3 and 6 month increments. Light bulb. If you haven't heard of Jessica Yarbrough, look her up. Warrior Strategist approved. She is very good at teaching breaking out of poverty mindsets, and she's a very nice person. Jess was super generous. She's in somewhere in North San Diego, I think. So understand, guys, that it's your own limits that are keeping you from attracting the money that you deserve. And there's nothing wrong with it. I was there for many, many years. And the reason I'm doing a lot better these days, attracting higher level clients, working with multi-million-dollar companies, Hollywood actors, all that stuff. You guys know my stories. The reason is because I up-leveled my results, I carried myself more confidently, and I stopped fearing the zeros. And that's why I launched Garcia Global Media, because I wanted a boutique level PR service that took all my best skills and talents and offered them to high net worth individuals to continue their legacy. I'll write you a book, get you the cover of Shift, throw an event for you. I'll get you a TV show. I'll do your PR for 6 months. Has a cost, but the right person, they'll do it. They've seen my results. They know what I do. So if you guys feel like you don't have enough money in your life, start thinking about how to attract it. Are you the person that just sits down and says, I'm broke, I'm going to be broke forever, I can't make that much money, and I'm going to work for someone for the rest of my life? Or are you a person that studies the relationship between money and the universe? And I know this sounds like some fucking crazy Prince lyrics. I know how I sound. But I'll tell you, I would put a hand on the Bible right now and tell you this stuff works. When you stop thinking of money as currency and you start thinking of it as energy and a transference of intent and frequency, you're going to start seeing a lot more of it just magically pop up in your head and in your life. I took the boldest step I've ever taken in 2025. And I got out, and like I like to say, I started talking shit like Ric Flair in November. And I've done the work. I've done the things. I launched my company. I hired a brand strategist, a very pricey one. And it's working. I hired interns. I sealed deals with freaking Bad Boy Hot Sauce, got the PR campaign. You know, people would kill to work with Sean Kanan. I got a 3-month contract with him. It's been amazing. I hired a bookkeeper, Mary Hubbard. I hired a CPA, an accountant. Jessica, I can't remember her last name. It's a little long. But going back over some tax stuff. I read Scott Oldford's book, Million in the Red. I paid $100 for this book, and it is worth $1,000. If you guys really want to get into the way money works with energy from somebody that's done it, Scott Oldford's Million in the Red. It's literally millioninthered.com, I think. And this book is worth every freaking penny. In fact, I think it's underpriced. Scott talks about his relationship with money, how certain things were counterintuitive, what he did that made a difference. If you don't know his story, it was nuts. He was a millionaire by 17. lost it all by 21, and he was $1 million in the red. He was $1 million in debt. He got out of it. Today he's like probably early 30s with 10 mil in the bank because he figured out how money and energy work. So by doing all these things, this set the foundation to attract wealth. You guys are seeing my commercials out there. You guys are seeing my ads. Once in a while, I'll probably pop up on your Facebook as an ad. That's good. I'm starting to go to events. I bought new business cards. They're going to be here any day now, and they are sick. They are. I remember a long time ago, somebody loaned me a bunch of money to start a company, and I bought really nice business cards. And so I emulated that first purchase. Same color scheme. They are gorgeous. And I'm going to start, I'm going to join University Towers, which is a private club in San Diego on like the 12th floor of some crazy building downtown. So I can network with professionals. And tomorrow I'm going to a high yield event. And then I think I'm going to go to one of James Hickey's events as well. Dude's really connected. Seems like a solid guy. I haven't met him yet. But the point is, I'm doing all these things that are growth minded. I have to become more outgoing. I have to become more popular. I have to provide value for more people. And this is why my lifestyle has rapidly up-leveled. Cash flow is decent, but really happy. And Jose, absolutely, man. Thank you so much for all you do. You are so loved, brother. I hope you realize that. You are so loved and admired. We'll talk soon. Another thing I did out of it, let's say, and I called it the portal. You guys know this, but another thing I did is I worked on my trauma, and I started working on gratitude, and I started to not be as angry. People are responding to it. I'm telling more and more of my guy friends that I love them because I've lost a few of them. Life is finite. When you hit your 40s, people start dying. And it's sad. They go without warning. So you tell the important people in your life that you love them, and you embody what I call just being the light. If I can help someone with a short-term emergency, if I can just talk to them if they're having a shit day, if I can make somebody's life better by just being a sympathetic ear, I do it. That's what being the light's about. It's not about religion. It's not about even spirituality. It's just about planting seeds to help someone else's prosperity, being selfless. These little things all add up. But once I started doing all this stuff, everything started changing. Everything started up-leveling. You guys have seen a difference in me, for sure. I have people reaching out and telling me, like, dude, you're doing so good. Yeah, put in the work. I planned this out in November. This didn't just happen overnight. This happened because I outlined the portal and what it meant to me. You guys all have your own portal. You guys all have the steps that you need to improve to get successful, to find your success. And success is different. Some of you might be happy with $50,000 a year. Some of you guys might really try to become millionaires. I set a crazy goal. I was going to go from about 6 figures to 250,000 this year. Am I under projections a little bit? Absolutely. Am I kicking ass and improved almost every area of my life? Absolutely. And I'll take that over the money any day of the week. I've set a foundation where I never have to go back. I've set a foundation where I have a minimum price point of X and 6 upwardly moving price points. I designed luxury level services at a luxury level cost for luxury level results. And that's where all of you can improve, can work on it, and improve this poverty mindset and destroy it. The universe didn't put you here to toil or to struggle. I'm not saying not to work, but I'm saying you should never have to worry about if your debit card's going to work at the grocery store. You should never have to worry if, you need $500 for your car. You should be able to pull out $100 to help somebody with at any given time. And so many people don't save money. And Mandy said something really interesting. Thinking about it as an energy exchange is also helping decide what not to expend money on as well. Freely reinvesting in your business or your life or your happiness is not a bad thing necessarily. But people also spend money on stupid shit far too often. And I will say it's tattoos, vapes, and Jordans. There's just a type. Don't take that as a racial comment. It's not. It's a type. It's a mindset. It means that if you give certain people money, all they're going to do is buy consumer goods and be broke the next week. If you give other people money, they're going to either invest it or they're going to grow it. Because you can take money and invest it in a business to make more money, or you can grow it by popping it into something long-term. Dividends, real estate, stocks. I'm not going to say crypto. I'm just not. But there's a lot of ways you can put money aside and start having it, multiply. I always say there's 4 kinds of income. There's passive, active, recurring, and accrual. Passive is where you have to work front-loaded to get an amount of money. Active is where you have to work up front to get money. Passive is where you automate the system so that it happens while you sleep. Recurring means subscription, membership sites, weekly newsletter, whatever. People pay you recurring subscriptions, money every month for whatever you do or week. And then accrual means you buy something and it hopefully goes up in value over time. It accrues value. Paintings, art, stocks, bonds, real estate trusts, there's a lot of things. But once you start understanding cash flow, income streams, how these things work, you can get financially secure. You can have it set up to where your bills are paid every month. And life gets a lot easier because you have freedom to think. And you have freedom to meditate. And you have freedom to have your large-scale ideas. And like I said, guys, once in a while, I just like to share what I've learned. There is no upsell. There is no, fuck, here comes Rob with an ebook or a course or anything like that. If I hit some obscene amount of money, I might do it. But I always say you don't sell things that you don't master. I could look up stuff and make a dog shit ebook or course just to sell, and it would look awesome. It'd be amazing. But I'd be no better than Tai Lopez. That's not me. That's not being in my integrity. I will never sell get rich quick bullshit. I will teach you guys what I'm doing as I'm doing it, the results, and how you guys can do it better than me. Because at my core, I'm a teacher, an educator, a professor. And I like to share the things that I've learned. Sometimes I can give somebody the light bulb that they need to be successful, to find their success. Ginger David, what's going on? Good to see you guys. But it all starts internally. If you guys know you have a poverty mindset, just start with those small steps. Start dressing nicer. Start looking at what the next evolution of your company is. Start imagining your company with an extra 0 in that revenue column. Start looking at your highest competitor and emulate them, reverse engineer. Do not copy, but just say, hey, what are they doing that I'm not that is making them this successful? Start crafting yourself into a higher net worth individual. Think about how you speak. Think about posture, which I'm failing horribly at. Think about how you walk. Do you walk with confidence? Do you wear jewelry that accessorizes yourself and displays your personality? When was the last time, if you're a lady, that you went to a beauty salon? Got your hair done, nails, all that good stuff. If you're a gentleman, when was the last time you got a suit? When was the last time you wore a collared shirt and socks that didn't come in a bag of 7? It's these little things, guys. And I'm not saying you have to be like fancy Wall Street every day. But on the days when I choose to do this stuff, I'll tell you, it gives me that confidence. People treat me different. People come out of the woodwork to talk to me, and it's pretty awesome. I don't want to be a basketball shorts and t-shirt guy. I really don't. Because the only guy that can pull that off and still have money is Adam Sandler. There's only one Adam Sandler. All right. I'm going to walk over and get a gentleman's cocktail and decompress a little bit. I had a spectacular day that started at 3 a.m. I appreciate all you guys that sat around for this. It was like 35 minutes. Holy shit. I was only going to go for like 10. But I want you guys to know, Ryan Hunt. Yeah, brother. Don't get me wrong. I still have quite a few. I'm not quite that elevated yet. But I just want to tell you guys as I sign off, thank you for being my friend. Thank you for supporting me. I find that people that like me a lot. There aren't a lot of fair weather fans. They either despise me. Sometimes I'm punchable. Or they're very, very loyal. But I work every single day to earn that loyalty. And I am grateful for you guys every single day. My life these days is a blessing. I'm happier than I've ever been. I feel like I'm at peace. But I couldn't have done it without everybody around me. All the support, all the enthusiasm for my projects, the people that show up in my group calls, people that bought from me in the early days, helped me, get that confidence to be an entrepreneur. It all means something. As you guys supported me in my journey, I will always be there to support you. To quote Mr. Spock, I am and always will be your friend. Man, that is really hard to do, even sober. See you guys next time. You guys know who I am. Stay famous. I love you.